What's your unpopular sex opinion? If you lay it all out on the table first, you have a better time of it later. Tom Segura has a god bit about that. Tell your girlfriend, wife, whatever, tell them what you like. If they care about you, they'll do it. Dress like a clown and peg me, whatever you like. Man, I told my wife my fetish is nurses. And now we have scrubs. Foreplay and post-sex cuddles are just as important as the act of sex. Eating ass is not a crime. Not showering before thine ass be eaten is a crime. Both partners should initiate every now and then, not just one of the other. It makes both people feel desired and sexy. And if you're in a relationship, it feels like less of an obligation. Also, my hot take, it's okay for a man to say no, and I think women should learn to respect that as much as it is okay for a woman to say no. Reach-around handjobs are massively underrated. Here's why. The sensation and position are familiar to anyone who masturbates with their hands. Whether that's a guy or girl, it's easier to enjoy stimulation that's familiar. Hell, you can work together even. Lots of skin-to-skin contact. If you do it right, you're basically spooning. It feels powerful. Ladies, have you ever wanted to feel like you were stroking yourself off? It's great stuff. Easy access to nibbling on neck and ears. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Women need to communicate better. Many of my partners have liked guys taking control and going for it in the bedroom. I've had an ex I didn't end up having sex with who got pissed that despite all her teasing I never pinned her down and f***ed her. Nope. No, not fair. We live in a world where you've made it abundantly clear that no means no and silence isn't consent. It's now your responsibility as a woman to communicate that you want to be f***ed. I've never not communicated my consent, and women who don't do so are wrong. The enjoyment, thrill, fantasy of having a man go caveman and just take you is unfair and inappropriate to pursue. People care way too much about sex. Not saying it isn't fun under the right circumstances, but people care way too much about it. Despite what porn tells you, I'm not enamored with the idea of sucking dick. I personally have an extremely sensitive gag reflex and there's about a 95% chance you'll end up wearing my lunch. And personally it's just not something I enjoy. I'm a guy. I don't always have to finish. Maybe I'd rather have you finish, then take a break and have it build for the second time and then finish. Given the sex was good and you'd like another go at it. Men who keep their hair down there trimmed is hot. Wait. This is an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's because I'm still in my 20s. But I feel like most guys I know keep it trimmed. How many dudes out there are rocking an unkempt bush? Joking and laughing during sex is amazing and way more intimate than just going at it or kissing during or whatever. Missionary sex doesn't deserve all the hate. I think it's the second best position when it comes to angles and actually hitting good spots. In addition to this, I'd like to quote some text post I saw the other day. Missionary calls his eyes pretty and his face is handsome. When you actually like the person you're with, that shit is magical. It's a huge turn on when a man can be submissive. Men shouldn't feel insecure about their masculinity if they're with a dominant woman. It's fun as hell to change up the roles and dynamics depending on what you and your partner are feeling. It makes me sad that a lot of men feel as if they have to be the dominant one 100% of the time, otherwise they're somehow less of a man. Not mine, but have a coworker who says this regularly. If the man comes, the girl is regarded as so much for caring about each other's needs. Foreplay is the best part of sex. Unpopular judging by some answers in this thread. What other people do during sex is none of your business. Given that it is consensual, of course. I should be having sex. You're right. That is unpopular. The bed is by far the best place for sex, and it's not even close. Having hardcore, vigorous pumping sex isn't the best, and not really worth it all the time. As a result, could be a bruised cervix. Lasting long is not always a good thing. After a while, I just want the guy to finish cause I'm getting tired and the friction is becoming uncomfortable. Shower sex sucks. IKR. Always get my dick stuck in the drain. I'm more satisfied if she finishes than if I do. Sharing intimate details of your sex life with your friends without your partner's consent is a huge violation of their trust and privacy. I personally don't enjoy that blowjobs are considered obligatory for foreplay, at least from the partners I've had. They become painful very quickly. Your knees ache, your neck aches, your jaw aches. I've had men purposefully hold out for ages so it keeps going, or hold my head down so I can't pull back up. I understand my experiences aren't universal, and there's nothing wrong with blowjobs among considerate, communicative partners. There's just no positive connotations for me, and it feels like something you have to get over if you want to ever move on to the rest of the night. Nobody, regardless of gender, is supposed to always be in the mood. I'm somewhat male as far as I know, so I can only speak on my behalf. Just because I have a few testicles, and supposedly the hormones to go along with them, doesn't mean I want little Jack rummaging around inside someone all the time. And just because someone's not in the mood, doesn't mean, A, something's wrong with them, B, something's wrong with you, C, they'd rather be with someone else, D, they'd rather be alone, or 5, they want you to find someone else to scratch the itch. It's just sex. Chill out. Also, and I'm only going to mention this, but can't promise it won't spiral into a diatribe, the meme of virginity needs to die out already. Whether or not someone's genitals have been applied to another's has no bearing whatsoever on the individual's worth. Do you have any idea what it's like to have to console an 11-year-old girl, bawling her eyes out, when she popped her own cherry, her words, while bathing, scared to death any future partners will think she's a slut now, just because she overheard a couple shit stains at school referring to it as some sort of freshness seal? I know that last bit isn't quite unpopular opinion anymore, but the fact that that ass-backwards mentality is still prominent, amongst grade schoolers of all things, had me seeing red. Should probably think of another way to phrase that last bit. We're setting younger generations up for failure in relationships and healthy sexuality by treating sex education as bad, and when I say sex education, I don't mean the scare tactics educators give us now. Aggressively fingering my pussy is a huge turn off and it hurts. Cut your nails and don't think that just because in porn girls seem to enjoy it we all girls do too. Missionary is the best position. Married 41-year-old female here with the unpopular opinion that married, middle-aged sex is the best sex. I do not long for my younger years. Society has put far too much importance on it. I think that part of the reason that we have incels is because people tend to measure the worth of a man by how many women he's had sex with, and since everywhere you look, there's sex and the sexualization of things that really shouldn't be sexualized, it's just become the be-all, end-all in some people's minds. People who build their entire life and identity around their kink are no different than those people who build their entire lives and identities around watching anime or building model railroads. Apparently, enjoying sex with me. If your life is okay without porn, you're okay. If your life is okay with porn, porn's okay. If porn is ruining your life, that's a specific problem between you and porn that you need to deal with at a personal level. That doesn't mean everyone else is going to have the same problems as you. Too much sex questions are popular in this sub. There's a saying about sex and pizza that even when they're bad they're good. I very much disagree. Don't do oral unless you actually want to. Don't go down on your partner if you don't actually enjoy doing it. Everybody is nervous about their genitalia at least to some extent. Taste. Smell. Is it okay? Are you sure? If you're going to half-ass paying some special attention to it, don't bother. Enthusiasm is where most of the enjoyment comes from. Pleasuring your partner shouldn't be some kind of personal sacrifice that you have to endure. Find something else you could do for them if you don't like oral. Eat that dick, pussy, whatever, like it's your last meal on death row. Or don't bother. It's perfectly fine to compromise doing something because your partner likes it. That's a whole different story. Just don't do something because you think you're supposed to, especially if you actually hate it. Communicate and have fun. Using the term daddy is the ultimate boner killer. There's nothing wrong with liking vanilla sex and not being into kinks. Most people can't handle threesome. 90% of the time someone's feelings gets hurt. They feel betrayed and drift away. Another is most men who think they want to see their wife have sexy with someone else don't. It crushes them once it's actually happening. Sometimes, masturbation is better than actual boning. I can only enjoy it if my partner is also enjoying it. I don't seem to have kinks. Not any like BDSM for sure. I don't like that choking and shit has become the norm. Love. Calling me daddy is extremely creepy. I kinda just go along with it because I'm usually balls deep at that point, but making me think about Freud's theories mid-coitus turns me off quick. You should not be labeled as a pervert, whore if you have a very high sex drive. It's ways less easy than it looks. It even shatters couples sometimes. A happy sex life is normal. If your happy sex life means doing it one or several times a day, then it's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. The opposite is also true. Having a very low sex drive isn't an issue. If your happiness in your sex life goes with doing it more rarely, or even if you're asexual, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Blowjobs suck. It is so irritating when I'm going down for 20 minutes. My neck hurts. My jaw hurts. I'm trying my best. And all I get is no, not like that. No moaning. No dirty talk. No touching. At that point, I'm not turned on. The passion has left me like a pop balloon. I know some girls enjoy it, but not me folks. The only thing I associate them with is pain and the sad deflation of my confidence. Sex is one of the main reasons for anxiety. Men worry too much about their performance and size, and women worry too much about their bodies and how fit they are. I am a guy and I have zero interest in putting anything in my wife's ass. She still thinks, after 15 years, that I'm going to ask for anal out of the blue one day.